Christopher Columbus landing in the Bahamas, the moon, Iwo Jima. These are just 3 flag plants. We're here to talk about fantasy flag plants. Producer, hit that button. Welcome to another edition of the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and Bigz. I am Grindberg. He is Bigz. Schultzy's up there. Wait. Pausa de hidratación. Hydration break. We're here to talk about fantasy flag plants in redraft fantasy leagues for 2026. How are you boys doing?
Oh, man. You bringing the energy today, Bigz. I'm hella proud of you. And
let's go Kings. Light the beam.
It's time. It's time for flag plants, and we're ready to mark our territories like we did last year. And we certainly
I'm not going to do that.
We certainly marked them, and we're going to do it again. We're going to do it again this year.
I mean, you were talking about hydration, Bigz.
Yes,
hydratación.
Hydratación and marking your territory all comes hand in hand. There's the chuckle we love.
That's true.
All right, Schultzy, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, we got World Cup fever, man. We got a World Cup game tonight. America, that is. Well, I guess, at the time someone else may be listening, right after right now. That thing's already happened.
Right
but
now.
The point is, it doesn't matter what happens, and I don't know what to do with my hands about that.
Canada's through. The U.S. is through. Ivory Coast is through. Let's go.
Let's go. And what a way to start the weekend here, boys and girls. We're going to kick us off with some flag plants, and we got a couple to go through here, 3 each. And let's get it started here, Bigz. It's flag plant season, and our viewers want to know what your spicy take is this year. You've had some spicy ones in the past, and maybe not so spicy, but new places, new faces and places. And what do you got going on here as your first flag plant of 2026 for us?
DJ Moore. He is a big time flag plant for me. So at this point, DJ Moore finished last season as wide receiver 35. He has 3 top 16 finishes in his career, multiple top 20 finishes. We watched him finish as wide receiver 6 when his quarterback was Justin Fields, and he has moved on to better pastures. DJ Moore is now linked to Josh Allen, who's the QB1 in fantasy football. Josh Allen, who is a premier quarterback, that when he had a true wide receiver 1 in Stephon Diggs, he made Stephon Diggs light up the world. We've seen DJ Moore succeed in 2 different franchises with multiple different quarterbacks. Now he has a steady presence with Josh Allen. And wherever DJ Moore is being drafted right now, I have him probably 10 spots ahead in my rankings. So DJ Moore is my big flag plant, and he's going to completely outperform his ADP.
Yeah, I don't see how he doesn't.
Yeah, how could he not? I mean, this is the best quarterback situation he's been in by far here, and the target competition there is really outside of James Cook, who's the running back. Not much there, right? I mean, they're talking about Keon Coleman being on the bubble here, folks. So, this is a situation here that just screams opportunity, and I know that the Bills, they do like to spread the ball around quite a bit, but we're talking about ADP here, folks. We're not saying that DJ Moore is going to be a top 12 wide receiver, which might actually happen if we think about, if he actually does hit in this offense, but I mean, the talent's there, and we got to see that drive come back. And I think that, he was just on the outs there with the Bears, and we'll see what happens here in a new situation with an elite quarterback. So yeah, I don't mind this call at all. Schultzy.
Ever since this Stephon Diggs left, we've been begging for a primary guy in this offense, right? Mm-hmm. The closest thing we've gotten is Khalil Shakir, and that's a nothing burger too. So the fact that we've got a shot here to pair a legitimate target getter with Josh Allen. Yeah.
Let's go. Love it.
So looking at it real quick, he's currently ranked by Fantasy Pros as wide receiver 27. There's some guys ahead of him, Jalen Waddle. To be fair, he's ranked pretty fairly right now, but I can still see him outplaying his ADP.
There you have it. Love it. All right, before we get things going here on the downslope here, but let's talk about Fantasy Spin. If you want a different kind of fantasy experience, Fantasy Spin lets you spin your lineup, make your picks, and compete in tournaments based on real player performances. Check the link in the description and the pinned comments and use promo code FORECAST. Deposit at least $10 and play at least one tournament to get your $30 in bonus play. So, let's bring my guy up here. And yes, I've been talking about him nonstop. So what is a flag plant show without me talking about one Luther Burden, who I can see coming in here as a bold take. This is my bold prediction. I know this is not a bold prediction show, but I think he can finish in the top 12 here at the position here in 2026. I think the writing's on the wall, and I think Burden is not just a second-year receiver stepping into a bigger role. I think he's the spark plug of that offense that has been waiting for him. And Colston Loveland showed their colors at the end of last year. They flashed elite efficiency as rookies, and, you know, they're turning this good offense into a great one. Caleb Williams is continuing his ascent. This kid is primed to carve out a massive target share and deliver week-winning spike plays on a consistent basis. We're talking about a player who can line up anywhere in the formation, win at all three levels, and turn short catches into long gains. And if you're sleeping on him because of last year's modest volume, you're about to be left in the dust. This is the breakout I've been waiting for, and I'm calling it now. So I've been talking about it all off season. It just screams future wide receiver one in just 15 games, 243 routes. He had a great yards per route run, 2.7, and we talk about that quite often on this show throughout the years. That's one of the metrics Bigz and I have been screaming at the top of the hills about. And he's got that yak monster ability after catch violence, averaged 7.3 yards after the catch, third among all wide receivers last year. So you put that all together, and I think with Caleb Williams maybe taking a step forward in this Ben Johnson offense, I'm flag planting my guy, Luther Burden, in 2026, guys.
We know.
I know. I'm going to stop talking about him. And, I'm going to let Schultzy talk about his guy.
Okay, I'm going to talk about Rachaad White, and my flag plant here is this is your top scoring running back of the Commanders' offense this year, and I think I'm going to say I don't think it's fairly close, man. I think he runs away with this one. I'm not a believer in Bill, Ja'Cory Crossy-Merritt. For those of you at home who aren't recognizable by Bill, but I've just never been a Krosky-Merritt guy. I don't think he's anything more than just a dude, right? Very uninspiring. He just didn't really pop. Doesn't catch any passes. I don't like him as a player. The Commanders just added Rachaad White. They drafted Katron Allen. They added Robert Henry as an undrafted free agent. They've done a lot to bring other dudes into this room, and I think as a result, that tells us what they think of Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. So, what does that mean for Rachaad White? Well, I think this is your pass catcher of the offense. He hasn't caught less than 40 balls in his entire career, and he hasn't taken anything less than 129 carries. So, if you look at what Krosky-Merritt just took, 175, and then Chris Rodriguez himself last year took 112, and then they still had Jerry McNichols sprinkling some in. Austin Eckler stole a field at the beginning of the season before he got hurt. There's going to be some more carries available for Rachaad White, I think, than that like 120, 130 mark, because I think he's a better back than Krosky-Merritt, and he's going to earn it. So I think he's going to earn some carries over Krosky-Merritt, when he's already got the path to all the catches. So I just think this is a very easy call to say Rachaad White is your top Commanders back this year. And that's just his draft steal for him.
Yeah. I mean, Bigz, we're finally in a situation where we get a Rachaad White back to fantasy relevance. I mean, look at the pass catching opportunity. You know, this could be a repeat. People have said and compared him to, last year's Kenneth Gainwell. I think this is more important. I think, Rachaad White has not been a great runner in between the tackles, but I think that he can get there. And, this situation here, the new environment, I love the Commanders' offense, and Jaden Daniels and him, I think, are going to make some magic. And I think this could be a very good situation. 50, 60 catches could easily be in his cards. Like, I mean, he was catching 50 balls in Tampa, so why can't he catch 60 balls in Washington when they don't really have anybody right now outside of Terry McLaurin really gobbling up targets there in that offense? And, obviously Chig is an honorable mention, Biggs.
And, the receiving upside is absolutely the key. His between the tackles running ability is completely line dependent. So he had very low efficiency numbers in his first year. The next year, Tampa Bay restructured their offensive line, and he got better. So as long as the Commanders' offensive line stays competent, he can be a product of that offensive line, and then on top of that have that receiving upside. So all in on Rachaad White. The Rachaad White wars are over.
There it is. All right, real quick, this stream is brought to you by one of our primary sponsors, Sellout Crowds. It's a sports-first social platform built for fans who want more football and less nonsense. If you want to keep up with us beyond the stream, join the Fantasy Football Advice Network crowd at selloutcrowds.com. Now, Biggs, your turn to get into your next flag plan for 2026. I'm anxious to hear what you have to say about this guy.
Well, I mean, you've heard it before. So this is our flag plant show, but we're not talking about things that we haven't already gone over. I'm talking about DeVonta Smith. DeVonta Smith now doesn't have A.J. Brown to kick around anymore. We've talked on shows before about the efficiency metrics that DeVonta Smith has shown when A.J. Brown isn't on the field. He becomes the number one target in Jalen Hurts' mind. In fact, he just got married over the weekend or yesterday or something.
Line dancing, baby.
Jalen Hurts were line dancing, and his wife gifted him a $300,000 Super Sport Charger. Or Chevelle. Sorry, Chevelle.
I was gonna. Doesn't he play for the Eagles? He's not a Charger.
He does. It was a Chevelle. Anyway, so we saw that his yards per out run when AJ Brown is not on the field. These initials are killing me. When AJ Brown is not on the field, his yards per out run is like second best in the entire NFL. We see everything kind of coming together for him. His ADP right now, according to Fantasy Pros, is 11. It's jumped up. It's jumped up quite a bit over the last couple of weeks since we started talking about him. So maybe we have a little bit more influence than we think. So it's not exactly out of the ether that I'm calling him a top 12 flag plant, because ADP is now currently reflecting that. So DeVonta Smith, top 12 finish.
Good call, Biggs. I love it. I think that this is a great opportunity here. And I think that Schultzy mentioned another guy on that Eagles offense too that's going to have a really big year too, and that's Saquon Barkley on our last show. So yeah, talk about him a little bit more as well as this show goes on. But I like this Eagles consolidated, target share, I think, and maybe they throw a little bit more. And if they throw a little bit more than in years past, that could be very, very important stuff for DeVonta Smith. So yeah, I like the call there, Biggs. All right, let's get into my next guy. All right, Schultzy. All right, Breece Hall. Okay, so this has been a tough one for him over the years, but I'm going to flag plan him, and I'm going to say that he's going to finish as a top 7 running back here. And if you're still letting last year's noise scare you, you're about to miss the boat here. fresh office signing, that 3-year, $43 million extension and $29 million guaranteed. I believe he's the undisputed alpha. Jets in that backfield, locked in as their franchise back. Big money, showing exactly how the front office views him. This isn't some wishful thinking about offense magically transforming. This is about a 25-year-old stud who's already proven he can be a 3-down monster when healthy and featured. And under new head coach Aaron Glenn and offensive coordinator Frank Wright, who loves physical, run-heavy scheme attacks with play action on multiple looks, Hall gets the perfect scheme to feast. He's the clear workhorse who can rip off chunk plays on the ground and through the air. I love this situation, and I think that this could be the situation that they're going to have here with Geno Smith. I think they're going to be locked into him, as long as he can, escape some of these allegations. But, the proof is in the pudding. They put everything around him. They just put a lot of investment in their draft capital, in a couple wide receiver, like a wide receiver and a tight end, first round draft capital. And then, signing Breece Hall here. I just think that they're going to let their guy go, 1,000-yard rusher with receiving floor secured by the contract. I love this situation, and I would not be surprised that, top 12 is his floor and top 7 is his ceiling here in 2026. What are you guys' thoughts on Breece? I know, Bigz, you've always been a Breece Hall guy. Are you excited about his situation now with Aaron Glenn there?
Of course.
Yeah. Love it.
I love Breece Hall. He is coach proof. I don't think that Aaron Glenn can ruin him. I mean, Robert Saleh didn't. The clown show they had last year didn't. So, Breece Hall, let's go.
Mm-hmm. All right, Schultzy, round up our next our next round here. Let's go.
All right, so we had one Eagles guy from Bigz, and my flag plant for the Eagles is Saquon Barkley. And this is a huge hunch on my end here, but I think the Eagles just get back to basics, and Saquon Barkley's getting the ball 300 times again, man. So like we saw them struggle a little bit last year, coming off the Super Bowl victory. And a lot of it came out about how we've got some turmoil maybe behind the scenes with Jalen Hurts and, some locker room stuff. And then we had the whole A.J. Brown saga, and obviously he's gone now. And there's just some question marks. And then there's the whole Nick Sirianni thing between like him calling plays and like just some turmoil inside the building here, right? A lot of question marks going on. And to me, with the way we've watched defenses get smaller, I think we've got to see a little bit of a rise in some of these stronger running backs here pounding the ball. And if you're the Eagles, I understand they went and drafted Mekhi Lemon and Stowers. Oh my God, I couldn't think of his name for a second. And you draft both these guys, right? So it kind of tells you on surface level, we're going to keep airing this out. I'm not on board with that. I firmly believe that this team knows what won them the Super Bowl. This guy's still on the roster, and it's time to go back to what got them there and take the load off of Jalen Hurts. And what's that going to do as a result? It's going to help Jalen Hurts. It's going to help these rookies in Lemon and Stowers. It's going to help them develop. It's going to put them in better spots, more advantageous spots to catch the ball, right? I think the Eagles get back to Saquon Barkley, and it's just that simple. And he's going to be a top 3 running back again.
Top 3, good, bold call there. And I think that, I mean, as long as he can stay healthy and get there, I think that's a bold call, but I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibilities. Here's what we saw 2 years ago. And I'm not going to, I have a hard time fading these Eagles because every time I do, they nip me. So I'm gonna stay back.
There is a pathway to it, but it does require Nick Sirianni putting his load on Saquon Barkley.
All right, put it.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
That's one way to put it. All right, we're about to get into the spotlight segment of this show. And gotta mention, if you rock FSAN, then Pro Plus membership is where you go all in. Head to FSN.com, subscribe, upgrade to the FSN Pro Plus for Jersey League entry, a free rookie guide, and 10% off FSN shop, free shipping, and access to our Pro Plus community on Sellout Crowds. It's more than just content. It's where fantasy football network and community meet. So let's go. Now let's get into these spotlights. It's the guys we have the most important picks. And I think that, these are pretty standard for the three of us here. It's pretty obvious, I think, two of you, but mine might be a little bit more of a surprise. So, Bigz, we're going to run your clip here and talk about your guy.
Bigz! Grindberg!
It gets me every time.
All right. Talk about him before Schultzy puts up the slide. Okay, there it is. The slide's up.
From January 2025, I have not shut up about Jaxson Dart. I dug in a little bit to his college metrics during the 2025, the run up to the 2025 draft. And then I went down to the Senior Bowl and I saw him actually physically in person and got to interview him at the Senior Bowl. And called for him all summer long to win the job in New York, even though they had Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson on the roster. At a certain point in the first month of the season, Jaxson Dart won the Giants' job. He got concussed a little bit later just because he runs a lot and he's a hard-nosed dude and he isn't afraid of contact. So he missed some time. But when you distill it down, and depending on your scoring system, I've run this through 3 different scoring systems, 3 different leagues that I'm in that all have different scoring. And when I distill Jaxson Dart's season in 2025 to the 11 games he actually played a part in, he did get into 3 other games. So technically, he has 14 games played, but it was really only 11 games that he was the quarterback, and he was the quarterback that was out there for the whole game. 2 of the 3 leagues that I have him in, if I divide his total fantasy points scored by the 11 games he played, he comes out to somewhere between 22 and 24 points per week. That places him first ahead of Josh Allen in points per game. There's one league where Matthew Stafford got so many bonus points that he elevates above Jaxson Dart. But that points per game that Jaxson Dart accrued, that's the only place that I could find that anybody outscored Jaxson Dart. Matthew Stafford did in a league that scores differently than the 2 regular leagues that I play. What that means is that Jaxson Dart, given a full 17-game schedule or a 16-game schedule and he sits a game or what have you, his points per game is number 1 in fantasy. He's not being drafted as the QB1. That's obviously Josh Allen. Drake May is a close 2. Jaxson Dart finished as QB 17 last year. Somehow lost Offensive Rookie of the Year to Tyler Shuck.
What the shuck?
But Jaxson Dart has a pathway to finishing as the QB1 because of his rushing upside, because of the production that he puts on the field, the fact that Malik Neighbors should be out there for a while, the fact that Cam Scatterbo is going to be his little juggernaut behind him, the fact that they just brought in Isaiah Likely. Jaxson Dart, I'm flag planning top 5 quarterback in 2026.
I have one pushback.
I got a pushback too.
I have one singular pushback. So you said he faced some concussions because of his running style. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure it's not just because of proximity to Cam Scatbo?
Because every time they do something good, they headbutt each other.
I would only say my only concern is Matt Nagy, but that would be it.
Classic, but you ain't wrong.
So I mean, I get it. I'm with you, Biggs. You helped me get on Jaxson Dart last year, and I mean, I'm reaping the benefits now for it. So, yeah, I mean, if you thinking he's going to get there, I mean, there's the opportunity. Matt Nagy is my concern, but hopefully they can, make some packages for him, and it shall be good for Jaxson Dart. I mean, he's got all the upsides, all the tools to do that. We talk about him being, Josh Allen light or Drake May light here. I mean, they're all very similar in the way they play. So love the call.
Looking at the landscape, I see Dak Prescott currently sitting at QB 8, Justin Herbert at QB 9, and Brock Purdy at QB 12, all of whom are ahead of Jaxson Dart at QB 13. Trevor Lawrence, Patrick Mahomes, I don't know if I'm drafting Dart in redraft ahead of them. But they're going to get taken before I take a quarterback, which means that Dart is likely going to be available for me in just about every redraft league that I do, which means that I'm going to have so much Purdy, Dart, and Stafford. It's going to be crazy.
I'm going to have a lot of Herbert and Lawrence. I see a lot of value there as well. So
I love Lawrence. I just he goes before I draft quarterbacks.
All right. Well, let's get into my spotlight, Schultzy. Let me talk and spill my guts on a wide receiver.
Spill your guts like a tauntaun?
Like a tauntaun, exactly. We're watching some Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, a couple tauntauns in there. Let's go, Biggs.
Empire
Love the
Strikes
reference.
Back, not to quibble.
What's that?
Not to quibble, but it's Empire Strikes Back.
Well, there's tauntauns in all the Star Wars stuff. I'm just saying.
Only on Hoth.
Okay, only on Hoth. Okay, well, fair.
Was there tauntauns in the Star Wars Christmas special?
That's a great question, Schultzy.
I think they were playing the clarinet. So,
hey, chat, were there tauntauns in the Star Wars Christmas special? Let us know in the comments. Hit us in the titties.
All right, so love the flag on there. Beautiful colors. All right, I'm going to talk about my flag back here, Zay Flowers, and I think he's going to crack the top 8 this year in the wide receiver position. And if you're still viewing him as a slot guy, boom weeks, you're about to eat some crow. This undersized, oversized, hard playmaking just dropped a career high 1,200 yards while flashing yak violence and route running polish that turns good offenses into nightmares for defenses. With the Ravens exercising his 5th-year option, nearly $28 million, locking him in through 2027. Baltimore's made it crystal clear to me. Zay is their alpha wideout under new head coach Jesse Minter and offensive coordinator Declan Doyle. This Lamar Jackson-led attack is shifting toward more explosiveness, up-tempo cadence, motion and creativity and play design influenced by, Sean Payton and Ben Johnson principles. So give me this situation without Isaiah Likely and DeAndre Hopkins. They're all gone. Clearly that target tree is going to have some massive upside here. And I think it's going to open things up in the red zone for Zay Flowers. Mark my words. Hopefully in the good here, because I think he's going to get about 10 touchdowns this year and catapult him in that top 8 range. And I'm talking about 1,300 plus yards, double-digit touchdowns with improved red zone usage. And I think he's going to be the centerpiece of that Baltimore Ravens offense outside of Lamar Jackson. And I think the Yak Monster is ready for more volume. Here we go with Zay Flowers. So I just like the situation. I love the new coaching style. I love Declan Doyle's explosive, detail-oriented, situation. And I think that Zay Flowers isn't just a solid wide receiver 2. He's a locked-in wide receiver 1 with top 8 upside here in 2026.
Speaking of Crow and Ravens, a raven has 17 pinion feathers on the end of its wing, and a crow has 16 pinion feathers, which means the difference between a crow and a raven is a matter of opinion.
And 1 feather.
I see what you did there. I love this, man. I've always liked Zay Flowers, the player. I feel like who he is, as his profile as a receiver fits what the NFL wants to do, really well, right? the path coming out of college here was awesome, man. Like I said, the way he plays, there was an immediate path to success in today's NFL, and it just felt like in a Todd Monken offense that just wasn't going to fully develop. And yeah, I think we've got a chance now, man. And if this comes together, you're looking at waiting, passing up on a guy like a Nico Collins or a George Pickens and taking the stud running back there and waiting around and snagging Zay Flowers on the tail end there. And like, you're cooking at that point.
I'm all over Zay Flowers, man. Like, this is the immediate, like, you're going to get him as your wide receiver 2 a lot of the time, and he's going to bring wide receiver 1 value. You stack him with like Amon-Ra St. Brown. Oh my goodness. Now you're cooking with fire. And I think this could be a huge, huge year for both those guys. So yeah, thanks for, enhancing my picks there, boys. And
it's a matter of opinion, Mike. Opinion. All right, Schultzy, run your clip. I was going to maybe cut you off and just, end the show here because you could probably, I think we're about half an hour in. Well, we good for another half an hour here talking about
I mean, if you got the time.
Well, run the clip, brother.
I wonder.
Much like Bigz is never going to stop talking about Jaxson Dart, much like Mike's never going to stop talking about Luther Burden, I'm never going to shut the hell up about Trevor Lawrence, man. And going into last season, I think I was the only person left on this planet who was telling you that this guy was good at quarterback, okay? We had a ton of god-awful narratives coming around, coming through him from really big people in the industry about how he is inaccurate, locks onto his first reads, and just things like narratives that are pushing to say that this guy just can't handle playing quarterback, period, in the NFL, and he stinks. He's a bust. He cannot do it. Now, if you want to go back, I'm sure I can find the clips to tell you where those numbers were misguided and why they were misguided. And I've laid it out about how the receivers gave him no help. They dropped the ball. They didn't know what was going on. A bazillion reasons, coaching, this and that. There were so many reasons, right? But what mattered was what Trevor put on the film. And what he put on the film is stuff that there's maybe 5 other guys in the league who can do some of the stuff Trevor does on a weekly basis, right? All we needed was some help and a real coach, and we got it, okay? So the first half of the season was a little rough. Like, it wasn't great. Kind of the same nature that we saw from Baker Mayfield. It took some time in this Liam Coen offense, man. This is tough for these quarterbacks to get it. But man, once Trevor figured it out, they got this bye week. It was wheels up. You could tell everything clicked for Trevor and the rest of the offense specifically. And from then on out, the only reason this guy didn't hit 20 points is because they were kicking the crap out of the opponent and he wasn't logging 100% snaps, right? So on this stretch run, he has 4 games where he didn't hit 100% snaps. He never got hurt. That's absurd in today's NFL for a quarterback, right? This Jaguars offense was steamrolling everybody who lined up against them. They ran a little bit of the season without Brenton Strange, and it was really bad, man. But guess what?
4 games.
When he was on the field, this team was 11-1. They just re-signed him. You want to know what that one loss was? It was to the Bengals when Travis Hunter got flagged for pass interference on 4th down to end the game. That was a phantom call, and there's not one person who's going to tell you it was pass interference, right? So effectively, the Jaguars were 12-0 with Brenton Strange on the field. We've just locked him up. Where's another area the Jaguars struggled last year? It was in multiple tight end sets. So even when they got Brenton Strange back and they were rolling multiple tight ends on the field, Hunter Long and Johnny Munt, just a couple dudes, they could not get the offense rolling with those guys on the field. So they couldn't get the pass going. They couldn't get the run going. It really put the offense at a disadvantage when they tried to roll multiple tight ends on the field. Well, what did they do? They went and drafted a guy in the 2nd round, and Nate Boerkircher, who can block, he can do a little bit of catching. Well, then they go and draft just the receiving guy late, and Tanner Koziol. we've covered all of our bases here. We're rolling back 4 wide receivers who all have legitimate talent. Jacoby Myers, Parker Washington, Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter. Like, the talent is off the charts around this guy now. It's going to get murky week to week about who's going to score the points catching and maybe running. But what's the one constant? It's the dude who takes the snap every time. And Trevor Lawrence is taking the snap every time. We're drafting him at QB9 when he just is coming off a QB4 season. He's rushed for 70 plus carries 3 times in his career, including last year. He just ran the ball into the end zone 9 times last year. 560 pass attempts. Like, this offense is going to score 30 points a game again. They're going to be pushing top 5 scoring numbers, and we're drafting him at QB9. He will be a QB5 again, just based off volume, based off of yardage, touchdowns, rushing. The path is right there. The offense is going to be this good because it doesn't matter who you try and stop. There is someone else who's going to screw you over on this offense. Pick your poison. Good luck, defensive coordinators. You've got a multitude of talent up against you, and you've got Liam Coen dialing plays. Defensive coordinators are about to be absolutely in hell against this offense, and Trevor Lawrence is about to be an MVP candidate again, right? So what does that mean for fantasy? Top 5 finish, coming in hot once again.
So you're talking 2021 Matthew Stafford, but with Remember the Titans hair.
Shay, you said it, not me, man.
Now there's a long shared adage in the fantasy streets that analysts are never wrong, just early or late. And if you remember back to 2024, especially on this show, we hammered the Jaguars. We were all in on Trevor Lawrence. We were all in on Travis Etienne. We took him in the fishbowl. We took him in our ESPN leagues. We did everything that we could to acquire as many shares of Trevor Lawrence and talk about him as we could. And 2024, he let us down. So going into 2025, it was there was a little bit of element of fool me once there. But we were just early. That's all. We weren't wrong.
I mean, go back a month ago when I talk about Cam Ward, right? Exact same stuff that happened with Trevor. It's always been on the film if you go back and watch it. Even his rookie season, like weekly, this guy makes throws that makes you go, holy crap. And that is why I never quit on him.
Well, Kirk Cousins does the same thing, but for different reasons.
All right. Bigz, that's all. All right, let's bring us home. Let's bring this show home like we always do.
Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Go to FSAN.com and acquire merch. Subscribe to Pro Plus account. Get in on jersey leagues this year. See if you can win a jersey from me. I'm 1-1 in jersey leagues. 2024, I came in second. Didn't get the Josh Hines Allen jersey. 2025, I got the Jaxson Smith and Jigba jersey. Find out which hyphenated player is going to be my jersey league this year. Also, check out everything that we got going on FSAN. We just folded in a bunch of guys from IBT, and that's great news. We're doing a ton of stuff. We're covering so many sports, growing, and you're here for it. So, yeah. FSAN, we help you win.
We help you win. Love it, Bigz. You switch it up. That was baffling. Peace out, everybody. We'll see you next week.